Hello, everyone. Welcome to the free webinar, Drafting a Translator CV Do's and Don'ts. So the upcoming 1 hour, we're going to work on your CV. We're going to learn what you need to include, what you shouldn't include. And if we have time at the end of the call, we will be able to review some of your CVs. If you would like me to review your current CV so as to give you personalized feedback. So let me know in the comments if you're here with me. Can you hear me well? Is the sound, the picture is okay? Let me know in the chat. Can you see the slides? Can you hear me? Hello, everyone. Let me know if you're here with me. And of course, it's a totally free live webinar. And it's a part of the Fully Booked Translator Formula, my paid 12-week business mentorship program. But of course, we're going to do that in a shorter format here today. I don't want to overwhelm you with much information. So even if there is a paid program with a 2 hours workshop, we're going to make that 1 hour here today. And I have prepared 40 slides. So let's see what we will be able to cover the upcoming hour. So let me know, guys, that you're here with me. And also, I'm always curious where you're watching me from. So if you would like to drop also your location, that would be great. I got some great questions to cover also today, like how to write a proper CV if you're a starting out translator. And of course, I've got everything is great. Says Avery. Avery, where are you watching me from? Avery Austin. Amazing. Great to know. Where are you watching me from, Avery? Everything works fine. Says Yuria. I assume that you're from Greece. That's correct. Yuria, you sent me some great questions. If you can repeat them in the comments. One question was about starting out translator CV, and the other question was about a program comprehensive training on how to enter the translation market. Can you repeat your questions in the chat? I think that was you, Yuria, that you asked me a few questions you would like me to cover today. And also let me know where you're watching me from and your language combinations. That would be great to know and to get your feedback. So let's start. As you see here, my name is Virginia Katsibiri. I'm also a certified translator since 2007. I'm the founder of the Fully Booked Translator Formula process, a proven process that helps colleagues, translators, and interpreters. Okay, everything that I'm teaching also applies to interpreters, that they would like to become fully booked, to find enough clients, and to have a steady workflow. Everything is fine, says Miriam. Miriam, where are you watching? Malta. Okay, I'm always curious to see that we are also Athens, Greece, says Georgia assumed. So we're based in the same city with Georgia. Miriam, she says from Malta. Malta, so I assume, Miriam, your language combination is Maltese too, and from? Georgia, what are your language combinations? Wow, Austin, this is from California, US. Like I've told you always that all of my programs, even the paid or the free ones, they have an international community. People are watching us from all over the world, literally. So we have Malta, California, even Greece. So welcome everyone. Brazil. Okay, Marcel, thank you. Thank you for joining us. So let me know also if you're a translator or interpreter in the comments and your language combination, that will help you also to give you more precise feedback. Okay. And also if you have any kind of questions related to your CV, that would be great to know, just to answer them during the Q&A session. Of course, I have gathered some, let's say, great frequently asked questions to cover as well. Jackie from Colombia, Medellin. Okay, guys, I'm impressed. You see California, Medellin, Colombia, Brazil, Brasilia, amazing. And of course, Malta. I was in Malta, I think a couple of years ago. I loved it. Thank you, everyone. So let me know also if you're a translator or interpreter or both, and what are your language combinations. So what is covered today, it's going to be in two parts. The training, the first part is the theoretical. Okay, so I'm going to cover the do's and don'ts. And the second part, I'm going to share with you specific templates and checklists and key points files that you'll be able to take as handouts after this training, so it's for you to keep them and to recreate your new CV. So it's going to be a practical training. My combination is English to French into Spanish. Greek, English, and Spanish says, okay, English and French into Spanish is Miriam. Okay, actually from Spain. Okay, but based in Malta. That's great. Lucky you, Miriam. I love Spain as well. Greek, English, and Spanish is your year. Okay, guys, thank you. And let's start, okay, with the content. What to expect from this training is divided into different parts, part A and part B. Part A, we're going to cover the general guidelines, preparation, planning phase, CV content by section, CV format and layout, final check before you send it, and of course, common pitfalls to avoid in order for you to be able to succeed with your CV. Part B, it's a more practical section where we could review your CVs if you share them in the comments, okay, as a PDF, do's and don'ts, checklist, CV templates you're going to take away, key points and useful resources. And of course, let's start with the theoretical part as well. Marcel says conference interpreter and translator. Okay, you have Portuguese, English, and French, the three languages. So I assume that your Marcel is Portuguese, A, B, and C, or is it into Spanish? Marcel. Brazil, so I assume your native is Portuguese. Okay, Brazilian Portuguese. Okay, so let's start with some general guidelines that before we start creating our CV, we need to have into consideration. And some of you don't even know, or you don't take those into consideration before you start. Okay, CV, regardless the actual profession or a specialization that we have, should be short, 1 to 2 pages. I have also a translation company myself. I've been receiving every week, even 20 CVs without having an open position. So imagine what's the actual competition out there. I've received CVs like 8 pages CVs, and I understand that when you have such a great experience with many years, you cannot actually add them in 1 or 2 pages. But in the USA especially, the length of a CV should be 1 page. I've made the research, okay, and this information I'm sharing with you here today, so it's not on the top of my head of my own experience. And of course, in the European market, 2 to 3 pages maximum could be, let's say, an acceptable length. It should be easy to read, structured and organized, concise, okay, but complete, clear in its message. So the recruiter or the evaluator of your CV, they should be able to understand, okay, what you do or why, what's the purpose of sending the CV. Neat and professional, accurate and true. Okay, you will see that I will be repeating that. We're not saying lies, okay? And we're not writing lies in our CV, but definitely there are hacks and tips for us to be able to focus on our strengths instead of the missing, let's say, skills that we might have as starting out colleagues or in general. Unique to the role, which I think is the secret of today's training. I think most common mistake that I see with our, let's say, CVs is that we have one CV for all the kind of jobs. So we create one CV where we put all the information about our conference interpretation projects that we have completed and experience, about our translation experience, without having them unique to the role that we're applying, okay, the job that we would like to be hired about, or we would like the project we would like to be assigned of. So definitely that's one secret that you can take away from today's training. So we need one CV, okay, for the role or the project or the job that we're applying for. That doesn't mean that we recreate from scratch every time. We could have one comprehensive CV, okay, but we don't send it 8, 9 pages, whatever it is the length based on your experience. But we need to create a very short one, or 1 to 2 pages related to the job that we're applying, or the project, or the long-term collaboration we would like to build with the agency that we are sending this CV to. Definitely, I'm not into abbreviations. Some of us, we feel that abbreviations are very well known in our industry, whereas most of the times we send the recruiter or the evaluator of our CV outside of our CV on Google or research engines just to find out what this abbreviation is. So we're trying to make the life of the evaluator of our CV easier by not having abbreviations. And of course, in our profession, it plays a very important role to be free of grammar and spelling errors. And I have seen, okay, such mistakes even on your LinkedIn profiles, guys. So you need to proofread or have it proofread by a third person if you would like, okay, to be free of grammar and spelling mistakes. So general guidelines, basic principles. We start with the do's and don'ts, okay? And of course, if you would like to receive the material, the handouts, I will be giving away at the end of this training. Please say in the comments that you would like to receive the handouts, okay? So the word handouts is for me and my team to be able to get back to you, sharing these handouts, the material, okay? So you'll be able to get the templates and everything I will be sharing here today via email or via messenger, depending what you will be sharing here with me in the comments. So if you would be interested to receiving the do's and don't leads, key points, list, okay, checklist and things like that, I will be setting practical files. So it's for you to do your homework. Please share the word handout in the comments, okay? Express your interest as me and my team after the completion of this webinar to be able to follow up by sending you this material. So let's start with the do's, okay? It should be short, as I mentioned, 2 to 3 pages maximum for the European market. 1 page is acceptable for the US. Comprehensive, easily legible, organized, clear, accurate, true, okay, true, we don't tell lies, unique, we adjusted for its situation, and consistent with dates and numbers, especially if you have specific numbers, you need to be consistent, then dates and the numbers that you have on your LinkedIn profile, because recruiters and evaluators of your CV will be checking you out on your website, pros profile, LinkedIn profile, so you need to be consistent with the numbers and dates that you use. Also in the same CV, I've seen sometimes some inconsistencies with the dates, so make sure that all the dates that you have in your CV also are consistent enough. Numbers are really important also to be included because they make the content more trustworthy, okay? It's, let's say if you say, I have a CPD or a course, or let's say an attendance certificate of that course, but you don't name the date that you got it, okay? The duration or the length of that course and the authority that gave you this actually certificate, that you realize that is not that credible the information. Let me know in the comments if you agree. Okay, Christina, okay, I saw your comment. So let me know in the comments if you agree, if the pace of this training is okay, you would like me to go slower, or is it okay, the pace so far? I have gathered so much information here, so I would like to catch up with information I have created. So I wouldn't suggest you to include abbreviations and acronyms, okay? We don't want the recruiter or the evaluator of our CV to leave our CV to go on Google to search what is it about, okay? Even if it's going to be, let's say, a very well-known university, maybe if, let's say, the actual recruiter or the agency that we're applying is overseas, maybe this is not something that they are very, let's say, aware about. Calligraphy, strange fonts. I remember once I was recruiting for a project manager in-house position in my agency office in Athens. And I remember I received one CV that was totally red. The background was red, so I printed and it was red, full of it, and black letters in front of the red background. So you realize it was so difficult to read, okay? And definitely the strange fonts or the calligraphy doesn't make it easier. Strange formatting, like the one that I just mentioned. Spelling mistakes, believe it or not, I've seen that in Translators CV, and that really plays a role. So as to build trust, okay, with the potential recruiters and evaluators of your CV. Repetition, I've seen many times that sometimes we tend to put in different sections the same information. So, but if it's going to be reviewed by the same person, maybe we don't need to repeat that information. So try to read it once or twice after you have completed, so as to remove any kind of repetitions, to details. So from the first CV and the first impression that you make, they don't need to know everything. Of course, if they would like to hire you for a long-term collaboration, they will give you the chance for an interview. So you will have the chance to answer any kind of questions. But also, since it's going to be in a PDF format, you can put as many links as you want. So people, they can leave, okay, the actual CV PDF to go and read more if they would like, and no logical order. I believe that chronological order, by having the most recent work experience and education, really helps a lot. So what is the process and the workflow writing your CV that I'm really suggesting? And it's really helpful. The goal of this training here today is to actually go after this training, this webinar, and update your CV right away, and to increase the chance of getting a response. Because many of you come to me and you're telling me, Virginia, I've sent 200 CVs and no one got back to me, or I've been getting ignored or even ghosted. And I think most of the times the reason is because your CV is too generic. So the recruiter or the evaluator of your CV, they see that you haven't taken the time to respect them and adjust the content of your CV to that specific job or project that you're applying for, even the agency interest and specializations that they cover. So the before stage is planning and collecting information before you write it or you start writing it. During is the phase where we start writing our CV, the actual writing of our CV, and of course the formatting of our CV, because we really focus also on the actual format of our CV. And of course the after stage, which is the final check before you send, and of course sending the email or the cover letter. So let's start with the before stage, preparation and planning stage here. And you need to answer those questions. What is the purpose of your CV? Who will be reading your CV? Can you impress in 30 seconds? When I was like compiling this presentation, it was, let's say, a few years ago, I was doing the research to write the CV guidebook for the Certified Translators Association here in Greece, voluntary, of course. So I was gathering and I was making a research online to all the other professional and available resources online. So based on researches, they were telling me that an evaluator recruiter doesn't spend more time than 30 seconds to review a CV, and that's very low. And I think recently this number has changed, even it has gone lower to 15 seconds. You realize that you need to impress in just 15 seconds. And that's why really the format and how you have, let's say, structured the information and how you have prioritized the information that the recruiter or the evaluator of your CV would like to see, that really plays a role so as to impress them in a positive way. So 10 to 15 to 30 seconds maximum, okay, spend reviewing your CV. So you need to be very fast impressing them. So let's start by answering those three questions before in preparation stage, which is really important. I think that's where we lack most of us when it comes to writing our CV. So what is the purpose of your CV? So it's a different CV when you would like to undertake a single project. Let's say you visit Pros, you know pros.com. Is there anyone here who doesn't know what is Pros? Prosy.com is an international platform based in the US, the biggest one, has over 80,000 agencies there gathered. So it's a very, very big platform where agencies, they post jobs, okay, potential projects based on your language combination and your specialization. So you will be able to find a project there that you would like to apply, for example. So in such a case, you need to take into consideration the requirements. So if you're applying for a specific project that you have seen on Pros, you need to read it carefully and answer the questions that they are included, or include the information that this recruiter or evaluator or the project manager or vendor manager of the agency, they are asking you to include either in your email, cover letter, or even in your CV. Is it to establish a long-term cooperation with an agency? It's a different purpose, okay? Because usually an agency, what they want, okay, an agency, usually for long-term collaboration, they will ask you a more comprehensive approach. For a single project, maybe you need to include the information about that specific project. So if it's going to be a medical project and you're a medical, legal, and finance translator, you need to prioritize the medical information or experience that you have in medical projects. But if you would like to establish a long-term cooperation, maybe the information should be slightly different, because there you need to take into consideration the agency type. Like if the agency is a medical agency or an agency that focuses on undertaking pharmaceutical medical projects, again, you need to adjust your CV accordingly. If the purpose is to get a direct client, even if I'm not suggesting sending CVs, and actually I'm preparing a different free webinar that most probably I will be preparing for next week, 1 hour again webinar on how to write a portfolio. I'm not suggesting sending a CV to a direct client unless they're asking you for. Usually a direct client doesn't have the linguistic skills, okay, to ask you for a CV or a sample of your work, or even asking you to take a test. So acquiring, okay, new direct clients, the actual process is slightly different, okay, more challenging, rather than just sending a CV or sending a cover letter to an agency. So maybe we can discuss that in another live. And of course, if the purpose is to get hired as an in-house translator, different information, different structure. And of course, if you would like to get hired as an employee, because we see that many times, some of us, we work as administrative assistants or project managers, in-house vendor managers, and so on. So again, you need to compile a different CV with different information structure. And of course, to get hired, I always adapt the content and format of your CV to the information above. So this is the secret here, okay? Another hack that you can take away from this 1 hour webinar today is that you need to adjust and adapt the content and format of your CV depending, okay, on the above answers. Also, who will be reading your CV? It will be the HR department, human resources, would be the owner or CEO of a small agency. So for example, in my case, I'm a small agency. So I usually also review as the owner and CEO of my company, the CVs when I have an open position, or might be the project manager or vendor manager that the biggest agencies and translation companies usually have. Is there anyone here who doesn't know the difference between vendor manager and project manager? Let me know in the comments. And of course, what do they need or want to know about you? Okay, create a list of everything the recruiter would like to read, do some research before you send your CV. So especially if you're applying for a specific job that you found posted on Pros, you'll be able to find the name that sign off, so the job title of the person that sign offs the actual job post on Pros, so you can make a research, finding them on LinkedIn, check them out, okay, and write down. Also, you can visit their website and see if they have a specific page on their website where they write the information that they would like to see in your CV, or the application, let's say, process they have, onboarding new translators or interpreters on their website. Only include details the reader would be interested in. Be selective. That's another hack here. So you see, every page has another hack for you guys. Be selective. So in case that you have, like in my case, I have 19 years of experience. Do you think that my CV should include everything that I've done and I have translated, okay, or the projects that I have undertaken throughout those 19 years in my CV? No, of course not. So that's why the secret here, if you have a very big experience or many years in the industry, is to be selective and to choose the information that they would like to see. Specifically for the project that you're applying, you read carefully, okay, the job post, and you write and you select the information that the actual person asking you to add in your CV or your cover letter, depending on that specific job. Let me know, guys, if there are any questions so far. Are we okay so far? Let me know in the comments. And of course, you need to put yourself in your reader's shoes. What do they expect to read in your CV? Could be a current photograph, maybe. That's a very common question I get asked. Should I put a photo on my CV? Language combinations. Yes, I've been receiving CVs of translators and I don't see the language combination. Might be in the third, fourth, fifth page of the CV at the end, like is it, let's say, an information of non-importance, which is not the case, okay? In our industry, language combination is one of the most important information that we can add in our CV. Top 3 specialist areas. Why we say top 3? Because even if you might be capable of translating many different niches, if you would like to promote yourself as the go-to experts, I would suggest you to gather your specializations in maximum 3. How easy it is to communicate with you. Some of you forget to include your email, your phone number in your CV, or even your cover letter, the email that you send me. So whenever I would like to ask you something or to contact you, it's very difficult for me to find it in your email, and then I need to search and to download your PDF and to open it and to find the contact information. So make sure that you have it everywhere, like in your CV, contact details section, your email signature, everywhere should be very easy for your clients to find a way to contact you. Service is offered, okay? Why should they use you? Some of you mentioned in the comments that you're offering conference interpretation, translation, localization, transcreation. So you need to be very clear, okay? The sales that you offer. A clear message about your experience level, even if you're starting out, is okay to mention that because we're not lying. But you can focus on your strengths, like if you have had any specialization courses at your studies, if you have taken any internship, or if you have, let's say, worked in any voluntary project. All this information should be included in your projects. And of course, professional memberships, we tend to forget that. And some of you don't even care about them. But for me as a recruiter and also as a business owner, it's really important to see that you are seeing our industry in a serious way, the developments. So you would like to keep yourself updated to the recent trends. So becoming a member of a professional association and having a membership there really shows that you are seeing yourself in a professional and a serious way, and you take that seriously as well. Provide relevant information only. What does that mean, relevant? I remember in a previous course that I had given, one mentee of mine in the mentorship program, she was asking me, she was very proud of a course she had attended. It was online or on site, I don't recall, in the USA, and it was about something really specialized in the medical field. So she was very proud. It was very difficult. She had made an investment to take this medical related course training. She was an interpreter and translator, and the CV we were creating, it had as a purpose to apply for a conference interpretation project of a political party, okay, politician. She was Turkish, I think in one of her language was Turkish, and the event would take place in Istanbul. So I asked her when she asked me, should I include this certificate that I have in this medical field, whatever that I took, and I asked her, do you think that this information that you are going to include in your CV will play a role, so as this recruiter or the evaluator of your CV or the agency, wherever you're sending your CV, is going to choose you over your competitors or the other 20, 50 interpreters that they are going to apply for this job? So that's the secret here, so you can take away from this training is like whenever you have this question in your mind and you would like to ask me, okay, should I include this information? Is this information relevant? Answer this question, okay, to yourself. If I include this information in my CV, would that play a role so as the evaluator of my CV to choose me over the competitors? If the answer is no, so it's not of that relevance, it's not of that importance so as to make a decision, your recruiter to make a decision, then you can skip it. I'm not underestimating the fact that you took this course. Of course, this mentee of mine, she was very proud about this course and this CPD and this certificate that she had got. It's really important, every CPD and every course that you take. But when we create a CV, we take into consideration, okay, what job we're applying for, the interest and the information that the recruiter or the evaluator of our CV would like to see in it, so as to make them choose us over our competitors and the other people that they're applying for this job. Imagine that if I receive 20 CVs every week without having an open position in my company, imagine if you're applying for a real project, how many other colleagues with the same or similar credentials like yours are applying for that specific job. So let me know, what do you think? I would be very curious to hear back from you if you agree or not. And of course, it was not relevant to that event. It was about translation in the medical field. The project was for a political person in Istanbul, conference interpretation. You can always add them on your website or a secret page or your LinkedIn profile, and you can redirect the reader of your CV to that page. So if they would like to find out more or to have a more comprehensive approach, okay, to your, let's say, continuous professional development, they can find that information there on their own. Let me know if that makes sense to you, if you agree or not with me. Are you here with me? Let me know in the comments. Are you here with me? And of course, as I mentioned, 15 to 30 seconds is the time, okay, that you need to impress. So we're entering the during phase. So while you start writing your CV, you need to take into consideration the sections, okay? I will show you also some templates later on during this presentation, just to have a clear idea of what we're talking about. So 3 are the main sections that I'm taking into consideration when I help you, okay, recreate your CVs and write your CVs in my mentorship programs. I always teach that even not only to starting out colleagues, but even people with 50 years of experience, they find that enlightening and they learn new things. So I focus on 3 main sections. The profile or summary, or you can hear it as unique selling proposition, is usually very short paragraphs in the beginning, okay, of our CV. Professional experience, I always start with the professional experience. I think a very common mistake is that I see CVs that you start with your education or your professional development, which is wrong, because be in the shoes of the recruiter or the evaluator of your CV, what they would like to read there. So for example, for me, in order to hire somebody or to assign them a project, is really important. Okay, guys, thank you that you're here. Okay, it's really important that they know that you have relevant experience to the project that you're applying. Usually the CVs that they start with education and professional development are those that we know as recruiters and evaluators of your CV that they lack enough work experience, and we don't want to give that impression. So even if you might be a starting out colleague, okay, I would suggest you to start with your professional experience only, okay, when we have zero professional experience, not internship or a voluntary project, nothing at all. Maybe in such a case, okay, we can start with education. But most of the times I can help you to write your CV. We start with professional experience. I can help you to write something in that, especially when you don't have professional experience. Then we go and we continue with education and professional development. What's the difference? Education is the formal education, your BA, your master's degree, okay, your bachelor degree or your PhD from professional institutions, and usually in our field are universities. And professional development includes the certificates, the courses, trainings that you have acquired while you, as a graduate, you work. This is really important section, the professional development. Don't underestimate that. And some associations, in order to become a member and to keep up with the memberships, they ask you to fill in hours of professional development every year. So they need you, they ask you to take courses in your field of expertise, okay, or conferences attending. It's up to you how you are going to fill in these hours. As a subsection of the 3rd section, which is education professional development, I have the professional memberships. I don't call it a 4th main section, okay? It's a subsection of the 3rd section. So The main sections are 3: profile, summary, professional experience, education, and professional development. And as a fourth, like subsection, okay, of the third section is the professional membership. It's really important to build trust with a professional recruiter and evaluator of your CV, and really plays a role in order to choose you, okay, among other colleagues that they might have similar experience like yours. Let me know if you agree with me in the comments, if you would like to add anything else. So let's start by entering, okay, each of these sections here, what goes into each section. So the section number 1, the profile or summary, usually is a summary paragraph presenting your strengths, plus a skill section that integrate keywords specific to the position. Why we focus on keywords? Usually the very big agencies, they put your CV on a directory that they can actually pull in a pool that they can actually find you later on depending on approach. So having keywords that describe you, both your skills, soft and hard skills, help the recruiter to be able to find you later on, okay? Section number 2, the past employment and accomplishments. We need to include relevant, again, the secret is here, relevant professional experience with example of projects that you have worked on. So if, as I remember earlier, I talked you the example, the legal, finance, and medical translator. So you see 3 specialized areas, and you're applying for specific medical or pharmaceutical projects. So I would expect to put the relevant example of projects related to the job that you're applying for. We cannot be as comprehensive as we want, and especially if you have a very long experience, very big experience, many projects, we choose the ones that they are more representative to the project that we're applying for, so as to give the impression, okay, and to help the recruiter to make the right decisions, so as to see that we are the right candidate for that project, okay? Let me know in the comments if you agree or not, guys. And of course, the section number 3, which has the education professional development. There we include any degree, special training, certification, and continued professional development, including professional memberships as a subsection is really important. So if you would like to see, and I'm not zooming in because I don't want you to focus on the content, okay, of this CV. It's a screenshot of taking of a professional CV. I would like you to show you how you can include all this information in the 3 sections clearly, structured in a CV. So you see here, this is an accountant, so it's irrelevant to our industry. It doesn't really matter. I would like you to focus on the structure and the 3 main sections, okay, that we're describing here. So as you see here, we see the profile summary. This is a 4, 3, 5, 6 lines paragraph. Okay, then we have the professional experience, which is long enough with clear bullet points, dates, and at the end, we have the education, and there we could add even the professional experience. So as you see, we can add all the information in one page. So I don't want to hear excuses. I cannot add, in one page all of my experience. Of course, you can. It's a matter of being selective, okay, and relevant. And of course, we have a secret nowadays, because when I started sending my CVs, I used to send also via fax. I'm that old. My CV. So in such a case, I couldn't include links. But now that we're sending online our CVs, okay, most of the times, if not all of the times, I do not know any other way of sending a CV. Let me know in the comments, guys. So we are able of adding any kind of links that we can redirect the reader of our CV to any other platform, our websites, online CV, LinkedIn, okay, to add and to become more comprehensive, to see our full experience in case that we cannot put everything, okay, in one page. So you see here the structure. So we're focusing on adding the 3 sections and how it should look like. Let me know, guys, if you're following this specific. And let's go, okay, to each of the sections and what we expect to see. As you saw earlier here, also on the upper part, as you see here, it has the phone number, the email or website, and some kind of details here. So it's really important that you have your contact information and your contact details clearly stated in the beginning, okay, of your CV. If you're working from home, of course, I'm not suggesting you to add in your home address, especially if you do not know who is going to review your CV. If you're applying to several different agencies and you haven't checked the credibility of the agency before you send your CV, I'm not suggesting you to add your full address, but definitely the recruiters should know where you're located, especially for interpretation projects. And of course, to know maybe your postal code, something like that, or the city doesn't have the full address there. But definitely a phone number or an email address, and a professional email address would definitely play a role here and help you differentiate from competition. So instead of having a fairytale@hotmail.com, which I've seen that in a translator CV email, try to make a simple with your full name, like virginia.katsibiria@gmail.com. Like that's my full name, or even by a domain name and create an email address. Doesn't cost much, like to have a professional email address. Who has a professional email address here? Let me know in the comments, guys. I would love to know. Is there anyone here that has been using a professional email address? And of course, then we continue with the professional headline, which is the title that accompanies. I've been receiving CVs, and instead of having a headline, they have their name. And I don't see if you're a translator, if you're an interpreter, if you're a localization expert, nothing. Okay, so I need to go through, read your unique selling proposition, the profile summary, go to your experience just to understand, okay, what is your job title? Okay, so it's different to say freelance translator, which I see that also on your LinkedIn profiles, which I consider is a mistake because freelance translators are millions out there. Okay, so we need to differentiate from competition. Also, the title freelance translator doesn't tell anything to the recruiter, and it's different to mention like 20 plus years of experience, certified professional legal and business translation expert. You see the difference? Freelance translator and professional business and legal certified translation expert. You realize the difference between the profile, the actual headlines. And then definitely the language combination, source and targets, not in only abbreviations, but in full. Okay. Fields of specialization, that is something that I've been missing in your CVs, guys. You tend to write that you do everything and you focus, to be as more comprehensive as you can in order to be able to increase the actual opportunities and the possibilities of working with somebody. But actually the opposite happens. The more general your CV or your LinkedIn profile, the lower the chance that you're going to get a paid project. Why is that? Because people trust people that they're highly specialized. So if they see that you can do everything, why to choose you? Especially for a medical pharmaceutical project or something that really requires very highly specialized colleagues. They would hire you that you have everything, that you cover, let's say 20 different niches, or the one that actually focuses in their CV and cover letter to the actual specialization that they are hiring for. Let me know, what do you think? And I always use this example with a doctor. Like if you have a specific health issue with your stomach, let's say, and you would like to find a doctor, and you Google to find a doctor, and you find one doctor that they say they're very general practitioner and they can actually cure 20 different diseases or health issues, and you find the profile of a doctor that they really specialize on the health issue that you have, and they have a list with specific, keywords focusing on the health issue that you have right now. Which one would you choose? Which one you would trust? So definitely I would go for the one that really shows that they have experience in my health issue. So I think that the same applies when somebody doesn't know you yet. You don't have any recommendation referrals, but they hear you for the first time. In order to trust you and give you the work, they would like to see the relevance there. And of course, the services offered beyond translation, proofreading, copy editing, voiceover, etc. The profile summary is a great way to express your unique selling proposition, what makes you different from other translators. So this is a really challenging exercise, and I'm having a business bootcamp, summer bootcamp, the last week of July. So if you would like to work with me for 3 days in a free training again, but registration is needed then, okay, you need to use the actual word summer bootcamp, free bootcamp in the comments. So I will be sending the link to register. I will be working with translators, again, international community for 3 days, and we're going to work on creating also your online presence. But what if I'm not yet experienced enough? Okay, let me check your questions, guys. Thank you for the comments and for being here. So Christina says, but what if I'm not yet experienced enough to call myself as an expert, a specific specialization? Christina, you don't need to lie, okay? When we're not experts, we don't say we're experts, but you definitely need to highlight the maximum 3 areas of specialization that you would like to enter the market to become specialized. So Christina, I assume that you have some courses in specific specializations that you took in the past, okay? Or you have some interests that you would like to enter and become a specialized expert in the future. That's how you write. So it's a matter of how you express and you phrase that. You don't need to lie, okay, Christina, that you are an expert, but definitely I would suggest you, okay, to include 3 maximum specialist areas, even if you might not be a specialized expert yet, okay, to showcase in your CV, your LinkedIn profile, your pros profile, everywhere online, even if your website, the areas of expertise that you would like, okay, to be hired for. That's how we build our portfolio. That's how we start as translators. Let me know, Christina, if I have answered your question. And definitely, guys, if you would like more specialized answers, I would definitely, if we have left minutes at the end, okay, I would be glad to review your CV, but definitely feel free to book a free call with me, no strings attached, to ask me more specific questions for your own situation. It would be clear for me if I have had your CV or your, let's say, specific experience that you have, so as to guide you accordingly. Okay, guys. So if you have more specific questions, you can book a free call with me, okay? So as to review your CV, okay, and to recreate it. But Christina, let me know if I have answered your question. Did I answer your question, Christina? And then another secret that comes along, and it was mind-blowing. Yes, thank you. You're welcome, Christina. Mind-blowing when I started, let's say, teaching and learning about CV writing, because when I started writing my CV back 19 years ago, I'm that old, I remember that I was looking online resources to find how to write a proper CV, and I couldn't find anything. It took me a whole year to write a proper CV. When I came back, okay, for the Association of Certified Translators here in Greece, and we were actually creating the guidebook in Greek on how to write a proper CV, and I made a research on that, I found out this passive writing and dynamic writing. Actually, this is what the agencies that they actually, you hire them to write your CV, that's what they do. They take your CV and they rewrite it from scratch by using the dynamic writing. If you Google passive and dynamic writing or dynamic words or active words, you will find several different lists online. I can share with you a list, but you need to write me in the comments that you would like to receive the handouts. Okay, so share in the comments that you would like to receive the handouts. I include also a list with dynamic active words, so you can rewrite your copy, taking into consideration those active words. What's the secret there? You will be able to grab the attention of the recruiter or the evaluator of your CV in a positive way by writing, okay? It's different to write. I was responsible for translating technical manuals and was involved in the coordination of proofreading. You realize that's a passive writing. And how, let's say, we rewrite that in an active dynamic way, okay, is translated. You see here, not just I translated, was not translated 150 plus pages of technical manuals and coordinated a team of 3 proofreaders ensuring on-time delivery. So you realize the difference. This is the list of active words. Okay, I will be sharing with you, but you need to comment below handout. So me and my team, to those that they comment handout, okay, I will be receiving the actual handouts I have prepared for this training. So it's for you to have everything that you need in order to proceed updating, okay, and recreating your CVs. So in case that you have 3 different specializations, I would suggest you that you have 3 different, okay, CVs. Let me know if this has been clear enough. Did you know the dynamic and active words writing? For me, was mind-blowing when I actually found out about it. Let's go to the second section, okay, which is professional experience. Definitely should be task-based bullets, list the responsibilities and achievements clearly, 1 per line, lead, then accomplishment-based bullets, lead with the result, then explain how you achieved it, and of course use numbers. For example, in our industry, we can include words, counts, or even hours of interpretation. Numbers make you more convincing. You can make a list of the document types that you have translated. You can group by area or specialization. And of course, you can give the most detail to your most recent or most relevant project. How we choose, okay, either the most recent ones or the biggest or most important and relevant to the actual job that we're applying for. So one example, okay, of a freelance translator, which I don't prefer to call yourself as a freelance translator. I gave you an example of how. If you have worked with various translation agencies in Greece, for example, you put the date, okay, that you've been working for, you put the title, which I would prefer to be something related to your unique selling proposition, and then the description, you can put, for example, professional freelance translator of a variety of documents. You put the types of documents here in a wide range of industries, and you put the industries there. And of course, if you can name a few clients and you don't have a strict NDA, you can put major clients included X, Y, Z. Even if those clients were your clients through intermediaries, you can always mention that in the interview. Okay, you don't need to work with Apple, okay, directly, but if you have been working for Apple through intermediaries and other agencies, you can actually tell that to the potential new clients you're applying for. So English to Greek translation of technical manuals, contracts, press releases, business correspondence, etc. Major projects. For example, you can have a 150-page technical manual, 50-page catalog, and 25-page of advertising brochure. If you're applying for in-house translator, you see it's different here, the approach. You have here successfully translated technical documents such as manual specifications from German to Greek, and the responsibilities and achievement could be, for example, coordinated, this is an active, dynamic work, 3 translators and 2 proofreaders on the user manual for a new model, ensured quality and on-time delivery of projects, increased and user friendliness by consulting German technicians for clear, effective Greek versions. The last one is here very impressive and something that you could keep in mind. Doesn't have to be only for in-house translators, could be also for freelance translator if you've done that. Showcase the value that you offered to your clients. So when I'm teaching the value that you offer to your clients in my paid trainings or free trainings, this is an example. You're telling me, but Virginia, my, for example, value is that I offer high quality and on-time delivery. No, guys, the fact that you can increase end user friendliness by consulting German technicians because you're a German speaker for clear, effective Greek versions. This is a really important result, outcome that you were able to bring, and it's related to the value that you offer to your end clients. Let me know if this is clear so far. As an interpreter, of course, it's totally different. As an interpreter, you can provide more information on the project if you were an intern. For example, the achievements, translated a 2,000-word document into English and Greek for foreign delegates, developed a glossary spanning 3 languages, wrote booklets, trained a newly hired. And of course, you name the agency, the location that you were interpreter working from, the duration, and then you can put, for example, provide, if you keep working for them, provide interpretation service and proofreading and documents. And ideally, would like to see the specializations here and the types of documents, and ensure translations conform to the original technically and terminology, discuss requirements with clients to ensure error-free documents. That's great. And of course, while this person was an intern, it has some interpretation service that they were able to offer. So provide support for interpretation service, assisted in proofreading, took notes during interpretation, and created glossaries. I have so many examples I can showcase if we have time at the end. But definitely you've got the idea of what a recruiter is expecting to see there, In the education, you put all of your degrees, special training, certifications, professional memberships. If you have any published works with links, you cannot put all the published works. CAT tools, 100% should be a specific section, especially if you're using CAT tools. And if you have any DTP, desktop publishing capabilities, also you can put them there. So once we have written the 3 sections and we have gathered information from the planning phase, it comes the CV layout, during phase as well. Again, the format and the layout should be clean, readable, highlight or bold key information, ready-made layouts. You can use ready-made layouts, but Europass format, because you've been asking me about Europass. I was at a panel with another recruiter, another agency owner. I was one agency, he was, and we had totally different opinions. For example, I don't like Europass. I prefer to see the personality of the person behind the layout and the format of their CV. So I really understand things about the personality. Whereas the other recruiters, the other agency owners, he mentioned that he prefers that all of the people that they apply to their agency, he asked them to have a Europass format because he prefers to focus on the information included, rather than the actual format. So it's up to you to use. My suggestion, mentoring other colleagues for the last 10 years, I have an experience mentoring other colleagues for the last 10 years, and I've been helping colleagues, either starting out colleagues, to find their first clients, both agents and direct clients, and I'm able to scale up to help translators scale up to 5-figure months. I'm able to help you to earn 10,000 euros or dollars, depending where you're based. My suggestion would be not to use a Europass format unless you're asked for, and this is clearly stated on the website of the agency or the job that you're applying for. Let me know what you think about the actual layout and the Europass format. And of course, the don'ts, strengths, and small size fonts. Keep one font, for the whole layout. Bright colors, as I mentioned, red and 2 bright colors. Crazy backgrounds, no. Stay away, word art, graphic images. And of course, the use of all caps, again, no. In our industry is a big no. Let's go to the after stage. The final check before sending your CV for me is a very crucial part and timing, because it's really important to check for grammar, syntax, and spelling mistake. Also check that all the links that you have included, that they really work. So recently I received an email for a potential mentee of mine that would like to work with me. They sent me their CV and they had their LinkedIn profile link, which was very long and a strange link. whereas I know I can help you to create a very short LinkedIn link with only your name. Anyway, that link didn't work. So when I clicked on the LinkedIn profile to see, it took me to a 404 page that didn't work. So make sure that everything that you have included in also the links, they actually redirect the reader of your CV to the right information, okay? So check for grammar, syntax, and spelling mistakes. Ideally, we give it to proofread others, okay, by a third party. Include only relevant information again. Review the project that you're applying for, or the agency. So if the agency specializes in a specific field, prioritize that information. Put first the work experience that you have in that field, okay? Keep it short, ideally 1 or 2 pages. Again, for the US is 1 page. Aim your CV at the position, project, and highlight related info. Submit your CV in PDF format, an email attachment. Is there anyone who doesn't send your CV in a PDF format? Please use PDF. Save it with the correct file name. So don't send me CV template, CV translator as a title of the file, okay? Make sure that you edit and you rename by having your full name, maybe your language combination, and your title is different, okay? And of course, ensure the email subject includes what's required, especially when you're applying for a specific job that you found on Pros. Usually they give you specific guidelines, that the reference number of a job, or the language combination, or the specialization, or even your rate. So you need to follow the instructions, even if I'm not suggesting you to include rates in your CV and of course your cover letter. If this is asked from the recruiter or the person who signs off the job post on Pros, then you need to follow their instructions. Also, if that agency, they have specific instructions on their website on what to include in your CV, your email, or even in the form, onboarding form they have on their website, you need to follow the instructions again. Is this clear so far, guys? Let me know. Are we okay so far? And of course, a secret here when you send the email is to address it to a specific person. You get higher chances of getting a response. Most of the times when you're applying for a specific job on LinkedIn or on Pros, there is a specific person that signs off that job post, so you use their name. If not, you make a research on their website or their LinkedIn company page to find the person who is responsible so as to address the message to the right person. You get a higher chance of getting a response. Extra tip, checkpoints here, consistency. Keep your CV's content consistent throughout, okay? Proofread it, your CV thoroughly, more than once. And ideally have a third person to do that. And update your CV frequently. So if you have a course that you took last year, put it if you haven't done that yet. Okay, and go and update the dates and the numbers that you have included in your CV as you grow. Questions so far. So that was it about CV writing. Now we're going to the second part about email vs cover letter. But I would love to address any kind of questions related to the writing and the before, during, and after stage of writing a CV. Let me know, guys, in the comments. So which one do you actually need? An email or a cover letter? When I started applying to job, again, almost 20 years ago, we used to be required to include a cover letter. An official PDF letter that we used to write, and we tend to either fax it, send it by fax, mail it, or even email it as a different PDF file that is not anymore applicable. Even if I've been reviewing CVs from universities from the UK, I have mentees in my programs that they have hired me to create their CVs and cover letters in my mentorship programs. And I reviewed the CVs that the career office of the university in the UK helped them create. And it was totally disaster because it was a CV specifically and designed only for in-house positions, whereas the person that hired me actually was focusing on getting freelance jobs. So we had to rewrite it from scratch. And actually, they had got this advice and tip to write a different cover letter, which is not applicable anymore in our industry, especially if you're looking for freelance jobs. So usually, better an email than a cover letter. A short email beats a cover letter. Most freelance translation work is arranged online. A formal cover letter usually isn't necessary. A short and well-structured email does the job, the work, okay? Definitely we need a name to address that email if we would like to get an answer. Personal information like name and language combination of yours and the reason you contacted them, the service that you offer, your specializations, cut tool that you use, rates only if required, why you are sending this email, and contact details. Really, really important to be included in the cover letter as in the body of your email, not as a different PDF attached. Let me know if you agree with me. And let's I have gathered the common pitfalls, the mistakes that quietly cost translators a job if you've been, let's say, sending your CV and you're not getting the job, or you're getting ghosted, or no one is getting back to you. Maybe you have been making any of these mistakes, and raise your hand in the comments, because the first step in order to improve ourselves and to grow is to realize what we've been doing wrong, so as to correct it, okay? So pitfalls to avoid, okay, writing and sending a CV too much and unnecessary information, okay? Taking into consideration the example with the course that I just mentioned earlier. Grammar and spelling mistakes, you will be surprised, okay? I'm finding grammar and spelling mistakes in your copies, guys, even on your LinkedIn profile. So having a third person to review it would be the best. And unprofessional email address, like as I mentioned earlier, let's say fairytale@hotmail.com, no, doesn't give a very good first impression. If you don't have the budget, which is very low, the budget, to acquire a domain name and to have a professional email address, at least a professional Gmail, okay, with your full name. A careless file name, so the file name also should be very careful. Sending your CV as a doc, not a PDF, okay, then the structure might change. If they open the doc in a different softwares, okay, they might change, and the content might be unstructured. So we prefer PDF, that they open the same and they don't change your content. Broken or wrong links. While I was researching for this presentation in the guidebook I created, definitely I had found so many real stories about people, they were including wrong links. By wrong links, I mean links that they didn't redirect to the right, for example, the LinkedIn profile of the website, but different pages. So make sure that you have checked all the links before you send it. Unused generic templates field. So if you're going to use Europass, for example, at least make sure that you have deleted all the sections that they don't apply to your own situations in editable format. So if there is one section that doesn't apply to you, you don't leave it there unfilled, okay? Delete it. A vague email subject line, no, try to be very concise there. And one generic CV for every application. One tip that you can take away from today's training is that a generic CV for every application is the reason why, okay, you are losing jobs. That was it for 1 hour training that I promised to you. Let me know, guys, how was it so far? For those of you who would like to receive all the Part B handouts and material I have prepared for you, which they are in a PDF format, a checklist that I have included, everything will be sent to you. Templates I will be showing to you, key points, okay, and of course useful resources will be sent to you, but you need to comment below this video. If you're watching the actual replay, use the hashtag replay and tag me in the comments and let me know that you would like to receive the handouts, so me and my team to be able to send you all the files that I have created for you. So this is the full checklist that will be sent to you, so as for you to know everything that you need to include in every section in a checklist format, so you'll be able to check off the things that you've done and you need to correct. The do's and don'ts also will be sent to you in a PDF, so you'll have it there for quick reference and you'll be able to check. That was a research that I made of what recruiters look for in a CV. And as you see, 45% they say here that they look for previous related work experience. That's why this is really, really important. Then come the qualification and the skills. But as you see, also 25% they say easy to read. This is a published research about what recruiters look for in a CV, and it's really important. And then I have got the frequently asked questions, which actually we could answer now if we have a few minutes. Also, I will be sending the key point checklist for those that they would like to receive the handouts. You need to comment below that you would like. I have also LinkedIn checklist, but I prefer to have a specific LinkedIn checklist. I have here some templates. Also, you can take a screenshot. I used to use freepik.com for such templates here. So I like this one. You can use canva.com or any AI tool. When I started teaching this training, AI was not that trend. So we used to use freepik.com or Canva templates. But nowadays, even Canva has an integrated AI feature. So you can give them clear prompts and instructions, but you see how you can include in one page. And of course, I really like this one. It's a bit of colorful, but again, very traditional and formal layout. Which one do you like? This one? Okay. Clean contemporary layout, or this one with a traditional formal layout. So I prefer the second one, but it really depends on your also specialization and the type of audience you're sending it. Useful resources that I actually took into consideration in order to write this presentation. Of course, all the handouts that I'm going to send to you. Okay. So you need to comment below the word handouts. Let me know, guys, if you have any kind of questions. I would like to answer the frequently asked questions, and maybe if we have time, I can give you some example of dynamic writing. So let me know that you're here with me. And of course, if you have any particular questions that you would like me to answer. So should I include a photo of mine in my CV? That's a great question I've been receiving. And it always depends on the country your CV is going to be sent. So following a small research I did, in some countries like France and Germany, recruiters do expect to see a photo also in Greece in your CV. Whereas in other countries like UK, United Kingdom, they don't. And in my opinion, a photo should be avoided in translator CV. But if you choose to include a photo, please keep in mind to include a professional one. In some countries like UK or the US might be also discrimination clause, so they might reject your CV for that purpose. Second most common question I get asked, what length should my CV be? Okay. As long as necessary. In practical, this means 1 to 2 pages long. A United States CV shouldn't exceed the length of 1 page, whereas an accepted length for a Europass CV is 2 to 3 pages. Should I include my rates? Great question. Your CV will be stored in a client's database or on the web, and it won't be always the latest version with your current rates. So if your rates are included in your CV, you won't be able to adapt them to a particular project, client, etc. Thus, you lose some flexibility. It would be advisable to call them in your email, cover letter, rather than in your CV if you are required again. Is it preferable to use the Europass template or any other template? I think I've answered that, but there is nothing wrong with using a CV template, provided it is appropriate for your purpose and adapted to suit your needs. It would be advisable to use a Europass template whenever you are requested by the client, but nothing compares to a unique, customized CV, and that's, again, my opinion, guys. I have been a translator for 20 years. How can I list all my experience in less than 3 pages? That's $1 million question, guys, okay? And I would love to address it here. Let me see if I have it also in the slides earlier. So it's not here. Okay. So the prospective client won't be interested in all the companies you have worked for. It would be advisable to use only the relevant to the specific client or project information and highlight the areas of expertise the recipient of your CV would be interested in. Creating a blog or an online CV where you could add the entire experience of yours and add a URL in your CV would be a good idea too, or your LinkedIn profile, guys. Okay. And then I think that was Yuri's question. I have no experience at all. What could I include in my CV? In such cases, when you start out as a translator, it could be a good idea to highlight your educational background that would be relevant to the job or project you are applying for and any unpaid jobs or traineeship of yours. Okay, remember when I started out, I had all the courses that I had taken in specialization areas during my studies at the university. And of course, any voluntary work I had done before I get hired. The reason they hired me actually was my previous university experience and voluntary projects I had worked on. That's what they told me, at least. And my thesis, university thesis also. So let me know if you're here with me, guys. Can you hear me well? Is the sound, the picture is okay? Are you still here with me? Why shouldn't I include any acronyms in my CV? You heard me repeating that many times. Standard CV writing suggests you spell out all proper names. The recruiter won't spend more than 30 seconds on your CV, so it wouldn't be advisable to use an acronym that wouldn't be known to everyone, and it would take time to find out what does the acronym stand for. Should I state my marital status, number of children, religion, or date of birth, etc. in my CV? You have 30 seconds, and I mentioned earlier 15 seconds, even less time, to gain the recruiter's attention. Do you think that this information would help them decide whether you are suitable for this job or not? The goal is to keep it as short and as relevant to the reader as possible. It wouldn't be advisable for a US CV as it opens the possibility of a discrimination claim. Okay? So I don't suggest you to add it for if you are addressing your CV to a US-based agency or a recruiter. Should I include a list with the companies I have worked with? Great question, guys. You've been asking me. You should be very careful in such a case, as you should have the client's permission. Otherwise, you could be in breach of confidentiality, even if you haven't signed an NDA. So it's really, really important to realize, okay, that you cannot list. And also doesn't play a role. I wouldn't hire somebody because they sent me a list with all, okay, their companies they have worked for. First of all, I cannot actually find out if this is real, okay, if this is actual experience that they have gained. And secondly, you can breach an NDA. So it's really important to take that in consideration. So if you would like to find out more about me, let's connect on LinkedIn. My email is info@vmentoring.com. I have also my calendar link if you would like to find out more. And also the last week of this month, I will be hosting a 3-day bootcamp, totally free of charge, but needs registration because I would like very few people to attend, so as to give you all the attention that is needed. We're going to work for 3 days, okay, to recreate your strategy, client acquisition strategy, to create a plan that you will be able to integrate your marketing activities into your daily schedule. And I will show you how you can become fully booked in less than 3 months following my 6-step framework, step by step, in this 3-day training. I will show you how to set up your goals in order to get a higher chance of achieving them. We'll work on your unique selling proposition to help you, okay, to differentiate from your competition. We're going to define your target market and find your specialization. So if you would like to get access to the free bootcamp, share in the comments free summer bootcamp, and I will be sharing the link to register, and I can't wait to welcome you all. And of course, I think, who was it? I think it was you asked me if there is a training, and you told me if there is any such training. Let me check the question I received. Again via Messenger. What kind of professional training enhances employability? So by employability, I think year over year, you mean getting hired as an in-house employee, or you mean to find jobs as a freelance translator year over year? Employability, what does it mean for you? So Marcella will be sending you via Messenger the handouts. Yoria, you will be receiving the handouts. Christina, you'll be receiving the handouts. So I think Yoria, you asked me that. So generally, what I see is if you are already graduate of a university or you have experience translating, no more credentials will help you to get. You're welcome, Jacqueline. No more degrees or trainings will help you to get a job or to help you to get a project or to become fully booked as a freelance translator. Because a recruiter, okay, or an evaluator of your CV, they're not going to list or to see the list of credentials that you have in order to hire you. For me, in my case, that I work mostly also with direct clients, they have never asked me for my degrees unless it was for an EU, European Union project. So apart from that case, okay, no one will ask you for your credentials. So there is a misconception in our industry, okay, that colleagues, they believe by getting more degrees that they will be able to get higher chances of getting more projects, which actually this doesn't happen. And actually, usually we tend to lose money and time getting more credentials rather than focusing on getting back the investment that we made in order to get our first degree. Okay, guys? So first of all, focus on getting paid projects and clients with the degrees and credentials that you already have. Once you get back the investment, then you reinvest, okay, in your credentials and your business growth. As an in-house employee, okay, year, I don't know, what degrees do you have already? Or book a free call with me to discuss it. I have shared my calendar link in the comments. So if anyone would like more personalized approach, definitely we could have a free call together, no strings attached, okay, just to give you more precise information on what are your next steps. But definitely I feel that in-house positions for translators are becoming less and less. Not that many opportunities for in-house positions, because as agency owners, as an agency owner myself, but also attending so many international conferences, I see that we tend to hire project managers and vendor managers, and we outsource the translation work. So if you would like to find an in-house position, especially in Greece, I would suggest you to focus on project management jobs and vendor management jobs. Rarely, agencies, they hire for an in-house position for translators. There are very few jobs. So if you would like to increase the chance of getting hired, I would suggest you to actually focus on project management and vendor management jobs. Translators, usually they have more opportunities as freelance translators, plenty of opportunities. They can work remotely from all over the world, endless opportunities. Jacqueline, you will get the handouts, great. So you're here, let me know what is your degree, and I could guide you accordingly. But definitely, I don't believe that having more credentials or more degrees will help you, okay, to actually get you hired, especially if your first degree is in translation. So it means that you have already a BA or master's degree in translation already. Okay, so let me know you're here. I would love to hear back from you. So guys, let me know if there are any questions that I haven't answered, drop them in the comments. If you would like me to review your CV, you need to book a free call with me through the link that I have shared here, okay? Let me check so as to showcase it in the screen here. Okay, that's the link. You can book a free call with me. It's a Calendly link, no strings attached. And of course, there is a free bootcamp 3-day event where I will be focusing on creating your strategy and your business plans so for you to start getting clients by September. And of course, if you would like to work with me, I have a few slots available for my one-to-one mentorship programs. And of course, if you would like to find out more about the fully booked translator formula, is vmentoring.com/FPTF. There is a wait list, and of course, you can send me a message or an email at info@vmentoring.com if you would like to receive more information. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for your kind words. I hope that you found that helpful. If you're watching the replay, use the hashtag replay and tag me in the comments. My first degree, says Georgia, is in English language and literature. Okay, so Georgia, you have a nice degree. Definitely you could be hired, okay, having this degree. As long as you take the test and you're eligible, okay, for the job because you passed the test, okay? Usually we evaluate your skills in agencies and in our industry by giving you tests or asking you for sample of your work. But if you need more help, book a free call with me, no strings attached, and I would love to guide you accordingly. If you would like to receive all the handouts that you see here on the screen, you need to comment below the word handouts, and I will be sharing you the link to download them, all of them. And of course, if you would like to work with me again for a free bootcamp, summer bootcamp, the last week of July, comment below free bootcamp, and I will be sharing with you the link to register. Then we will need registration because we're going to work for a whole week together. We'll be creating your strategy, and we're going to create your plan with actionable steps to leave this bootcamp to start getting clients by September. Thank you, everyone. Glad to see you here. Thank you for staying that long. Let me know if you have any kind of questions. You're welcome, everyone. And let me know in the comments if you have any more questions or book a free call with me to discuss your own particular case. Bye-bye, everyone.